Hello everyone, my name is Peachy, and welcome back to World of Amorax. Now we're going to skip the first few minutes of this game because basically I sit in base, miss all my shots and help this tease everyone stay alive by giving really bad supporting fire. Because I hit about, well, you'll see how many shots I actually hit. Now before I actually start about today's video and all of its shenanigans, last week's, or actually Sunday's intro got received incredibly well. Which kinda surprised me. I had that piece of footage recorded for quite some time now. I think it was patch 9.12. And I could never really figure out what to do with it. I know I had to do something with music, but I just couldn't really figure it out. I've tried before using it, and then I came across the Team Fortress 2 heavy dude screaming his random stuff he always does. And it just sort of fit. It just happened. And I don't know. I felt I had to use it, so I did that, and it just worked out so well. I don't understand what happened. And I'll give you a little bit of a backstory about that little footage that happened. It was the actual start of the game. I was platooning with Simon and I think Zalmaniac, I'm not quite sure anymore. Or Cuddlesbear, one of the two. And that artillery, this was the beginning of the game. We just took the middle with our T-54s. We were not in the T-125. We are the T-54s that come over the hill after the RT went in. And that RT, he just was going full YOLO. He was an actual amazing RT player. He was next level. What happened was, we took the middle, and we were sort of hesitant to go in because we saw the 140, we didn't know exactly what was behind him, and then we noticed there's an artillery player amongst us. There is an artillery player, he's going in, the artillery's going in, and he just drove around the corner, shotguns the 140 and keeps on driving, and we were like, I guess we have to go in now, guys? What this artillery player does next is amazing. He keeps on driving until he's in their corner of the usual RT spot and just starts playing artillery from their base. He has all of the butt shots on all the enemy tanks and just gets like 4k damage out of that game because he just sat there playing artillery from the enemy's base. It was the most amazing thing I have ever seen, and that was the only time I've seen it. But let's get back to the game. You've seen me drive into the forest towards the north, and now you're seeing me drive back. Why is that? Well, if I'm going north, I'm going to get caught out by the Centurion, possibly the Type 64 and the T-54 on the hill. If I go into the middle, I will be in a crossfire from the AMX 5100, the T-54 in the middle, the Type 64, T-54 on the hill, 704, and all those scary tanks from there. So instead, I do the next best thing. I go into a position where I will get flanked, but not from three sides. If I get flanked, it's from the middle, where we have vision because of the T-71 and possibly the Waffenträger. So I go after the Skoda T-50, and he is stock, as you can see. He doesn't have the top turret, so he definitely doesn't have the top auto-loading gun either, so that makes him an easy target. Now I make a mistake here. For some reason, and I still don't know why, I'll go over the hill, so all of the tanks in the background have easy shots on me. I take 4 very unnecessary shots at this point. I've lost my health, and it was clearly not worth the trade, and I still don't know why I did that. Now with that decision to go into this dip, I have made the decision that I cannot go out of here anymore because, well, I'm in a dip. I've worked myself into the corner of the map. So far this game, I've only been somewhere in the background firing at targets. Basically, I've been farming WN8 or damage at this point. But I'm playing the Skoda T50. I'm not a frontline tank, as I've said many times in other Skoda T50 replays. By the way, this is the last Skoda T50 replay you'll see in a while because I've had enough of featuring this tank on this channel. So being in a Skoda T50, I cannot be expected to be in the front lines because then I will get focused down and die, just like Waffenträger E100s. I'm so glad they're gonna be gone next patch. So now comes the question in play. Is this skill-based what I just did? Is it luck-based, or am I just an asshole by sitting in the back and just farming damage? A bit of all three. It is skill-based that I've read the map knowing I cannot go into the north because we don't have vision there. I cannot go into the middle because I'd be in a massive crossfire. I can go to the south and help kill the Skoda T50, and from there help defend the base. However, it is luck-based because, you know, while driving there I made massive mistakes and I didn't get absolutely pummeled by, for example, the T95 in the middle. 704 could have pulled back into their own base, could have put a massive shot into me, ended my game. However, I am still a massive bumhole for sitting in the back of everyone and just shooting at targets, pew pew pew, pew pew pew, pew pew pew, farming damage. So, hey, now comes a problem. We are down 3 tanks, we are down, by that calculation, I'm very good at math, 3 guns. And we are probably down on health as well. I've taken a few shots, the Leopard BTA has taken a few shots, and the T-54 has taken a few shots. I am pretty sure at this point the 704 is really healthy, and the T-95 is really healthy. But that's not the issue. We have worked ourselves into H1 and G1. We've worked ourselves into 2 of the many sectors on the map. All they have to do is sit one person in cap and then slowly surround us as we try and valiantly defend our cap circle while we're being absolutely wrecked by everyone around us. And slowly we are being surrounded. The T-54 is close to distance, the 704 is closing the distance, the 5100 is keeping the south of us completely locked down. We don't know where the Type 64 is and we don't know where the T-95 is. 5 tanks versus 3. Now I'm in a Skoda T-50, I'm a very powerful tank. I've put many shots into people, but some of them bounced, many of them missed, and I'm running low on ammunition at this point. Make that 2 versus 5. I was very happy in keeping on talking how we're going to lose this game, and I make a bit of an asshole decision here. I used the Leopard PTA, who can take a shot from the 704, to take a shot while I try and kill this T-54. He bounces his shot, I miss my first shot, kill the Type 64. 2 versus 1 at this point. Now I'm running really low on ammunition. 3 APCR shells, 9 heat, 3 high explosive. I don't know why I take high explosive. Now, the shaky hands started. I started to have shaky hands because the T-95 is on high health. And guess where he is? Right in front of me. Ooh, he misses. Looked like a high explosive shell, or even heat for that matter. And I auto aim with the 5100. I know the 5100 is a long aim time. I don't. Easy kill. 1 versus 1. Now what would you do at this point? Would you rush him and hopefully make sure he doesn't have the traverse speed, which is a good decision if you can get beside him? He just fired. He maybe has about 5 seconds left at the moment. I killed the 5100, so that wasn't really an option. So there's basically 2 options left. You can hopefully sit in position, hope for him to make a mistake while you try and find a new position in the small sector you are in, or track him and then make him use his repair kit if he still has it. Let's have a look what I did. I moved position from where I first was to a new position where he doesn't know where I am. I wait for a bit to make sure he closes the distance on my old position, which he does. Put a shot in, second one bounces. I was really shaky hands at this point. Alright, so what do we do now? Not a lot of shots left. I mean, I have 7 heat rounds, 1 APCR, 3 high explosive. The high explosive is not that effective against the T-95. So, I do the same thing as just now. I move back into the old position because he was going towards my position I was just spotted in. I don't want to get spotted at this point, but he was a bit further than I thought, so he spots me, starts turning, then I track him. Why? Because I want to make sure I get around him, because this was never going to last long. He will always have an angled front to me or angled side if I kept sitting in that position. So what I do is I use 2 heat rounds to make sure that he uses his repair kit so I can get around him. And then put 1 driving in. Very risky of me to put 1 in on the move. It could have easily missed and then this game would have had a totally different ending. Now he does have a fairly okay repair crew, but a 20-second reload on the Skoda T50 doesn't really help. That was a really dodgy shot, putting it in at that angle with heat, but I put all 3 shots in his back. Now at this point, I was really shaking. I was like, 1 more shot, 20 seconds waiting. Want to get behind him, but not really. I'm on a downslope, he could easily roll onto me, kill me. Now, I go down, he starts turning his tracks, but he is never fast enough to compete with a medium tank firing heat. And we're back playing the 5916. I've started my grind towards the W's at 132 and possibly the 121. I'm not really keen on getting the 121 because of its 3.5 degrees of gun depression. I'd rather have the 113 at this point. But that is beside the point. I'm playing with Alalalek in his T-34-100. He wants to get the Skoda T50, and if you can see the last replay, you can see why. And with John Harmon, who already has the 112 and the 132, but he absolutely adores the 5916. And I'm grinding this tank with his help, because I wasn't really looking forward to playing the 5916. Having it compared to the T-37, it has less health, less penetration, and it just is a worse tank overall, but has a higher camo rating. So this tank and all the Chinese light tanks are basically scouts. They are dedicated scouts because if they have one of the highest camo ratings in the game. Actually saying that Alec wants to Skoda T50, that might not be entirely right. I think I can remember him saying, the Skoda T50 is not really my playstyle. However, He loves the T-34-100 for some reason, and he is currently pestering John about it, like, oh, look at the stats of my 34-100, and stuff like that, because John absolutely hated it, and Alec is the complete opposite, trying to prove that the 34-100 is not even that bad of a tank. However, I was talking about something else, and that was that the 5916 is not as good compared to, for example, the same tier light tank, the T-37. I believe Sircon, while he was grinding 3 marks on that tank, started comparing the two, and the 5916 is just worse in every single way except for camo rating, and showing that the power creep is indeed a thing that is happening in World of Tanks. But so far I've actually done nothing in this game. I've just been driving around and following either Alec or John. And when we saw we couldn't do anything in the field at that point, we drove into town and hopefully killed a Tiger or Ferdinand, but then town lost, so we turned around and went back into the field of Ensk and hopefully do damage there. Me and John are basically now Alec's little Chinese drones and are going to help him do damage. Now the interesting thing about the 5916 is it has an autoloader. It fires 1 shell every 1.33 seconds, and I think it has 5 shells in its clip that reloads every 9 seconds. And I spot the Yak Panther here, so I tell John, let's rush out this Yak Panther, we can easily kill him if we both put our shots in. And then John says yes, and then proceeds to drive over the railway. Me, on the other hand, I'm far too overconfident at this point, and I'm thinking this game is probably lost. They're gonna rush over to town, and our team is gonna split up, so I'm going to 1v1 this Yak Panther. And now comes the question, is this luck based or skill based? Because this happened. Certainly that was lucky, because never ever would I have survived that. John notices the ammo rack in the background and just says, oh, good job. And then he decides to rush out this artillery. We both put our shots into him and he dies. The whole team, most of our team is basically rushing their base now, and me and John are pretty much healthy. I've taken a ramming damage from the Yak Panther and that's it. So me and John decide we can rush this Yak Panther together. We can actually rush out this Yak Panther together. And then this happens. So I'm going to have to rush this Yak Panther alone. I can take a shot from him easily, but the last thing I want right now is to get shot by the Tiger and Ferdinand behind the building. So I take the side of the Yak Panther. So he dies. At this point I'm fairly confident. We're suddenly up by quite a lot of tanks and they've got 2 artillery left. And now those artillery are not really that effective. They're kind of in panic, we're getting close to them, and their tanks are being slowly killed. Guess what? I found the M12 and I'm gonna kill him. That leaves the S51, the Ferdinand and the Tiger. Now, as of late, I've noticed a thing when I've been platooning with John. I've been ammo racking a lot of tanks. Just today, playing on Tuesday, I ammo racked 4 tanks in about 10 games. That doesn't really happen that often. And in this game, you've already seen 2 ammo racks. I don't know what's happening, but RNG is really on my side and I can't wait for it to finally end and then not kill any tank anymore ever. Now John gives a piece of advice here. That S51 is a good player, he knows that I'm coming for him. So John tells me, turn right because I'm not spotted anymore and he won't know where I'm coming from. Now I thought he was in the corner and John did too, and suddenly he's right in front of us. Now the question is this luck or skill?